Hello everyone, welcome back to Debating for America's Youth. My name is Nathan Fair, and today I'm going to be answering some questions I saw on the subreddit r/debate. r/debate is a subreddit on Reddit that goes through and you can have your questions answered about speech and debate, you can recommend resources, and you can even share fun stuff like memes. So today I'll be answering some questions I saw. But if you haven't already, check out my subreddit. It's called r/debating youth, and it's a subreddit for people who are fans of my channel. You can ask questions, you can have interview requests, or anything else you want to see from me. As well, I'll be releasing exclusive information before I release on this channel, including an awesome special interview I'm doing this week. So definitely go on the subreddit, check it out, and thanks. So today I'm going to be answering some questions, and the first question I'll be answering is about crystallization Congress speeches. So they want to kind of get a video example or a soundbite from a crystallization speech. But before I do that, let me just explain what a crystallization speech is. So in speech and debate, and especially in Congress, there's different layers of speeches. So in the beginning, you have the opening speeches to kind of introduce the topic. Then as you go on, you have speeches in the middle, kind of with the argumentation, the meat of the argumentation with the rebuttals. And then at the end, you have a crystallization speech. And they're supposed to summarize the debate and say who won and who lost. So you have one on the app and one on the neg. And for an example of this, I would watch the full congressional debate round that I did with the national champion. So it's going to be up at the top right here. It's going to come across the screen. Check it out. And in that video, you'll see not only introduction speeches, middle speeches, but you also see those crystallization speeches. One that I think is really great is one delivered by Isaac Applebaum in the debate you're going to see. So definitely go check that out. The next question. So it's asking about making case creation more efficient. This is a good question, and I think that a lot of people have the same question about wanting to make their cases more efficient, or at least the process of creating their cases more efficient. And I think this is a good one, especially for bigger tournaments, and if you're in congressional debate especially, because you're going to have a lot of bills to prep on. And so what I would recommend is some advice I actually heard from Arabella Kreitz, which I take into account, is to have 3 points on each side if you're doing a congressional debate bill, so then you at least have a speech to give in congressional debate. But if you're not in congressional debate, what I would recommend is a lot of these free briefs you can find online will kind of summarize the topic and give you a background on it, so you don't have to do a lot of background research. You can have those fundamentals, and then I would recommend, for me at least, I just will research a ton, and I think that making it more efficient would just be having that background knowledge can save you a lot of time, so you don't have to find all that background information yourself. So the next question is about staying calm and collected. This is a really good question. I think one thing that most people in speech and debate, I would say, would struggle with. He talked about how he was really confident beforehand, he/she was really confident beforehand, but when they got into the round, they became nervous, and that makes sense. I think that's totally realistic. I think within the round, something that I do to make myself feel more confident when I'm in the round is I'll do deep breathing, so that I can just breathe in, breathe out right before I give my speech, so I can kind of have my heart rate go down and my body calm down a little bit. I also think another thing is research. For me, when I know what I'm researching and I understand the topic, or at the very least I understand the speech I'm about to give, I give it a lot better. So I'm not saying memorize every one of your speeches, but at least understand what you're going to talk about. It'll help you a ton. The next question is, did debate ever just click for y'all? And that's a good question. For me, I don't think debate ever, there's one moment that it just clicked. I think that over time I got a lot more confident and a lot better at it. I think that one misconception maybe is that speech and debate just is instant, right? You go from being bad to being good. I think it's a slow process, right? You start off as a novice and then you're bad. Hopefully everyone's not great at the start. And then you start to get better at the novice level, and then you move up to the varsity level and you're not great at first, and then you start progressing. And then eventually you can get to a national level where you're competing nationally against people. But it's not an instantaneous thing. I think that the best way for it to click for you is just to go to tournaments, to go to practices, just to put in the work, and I think it'll help you a ton. The next question is about my debate tactics. I think that this is kind of a broad question. The person had a paragraph about it. You can go read it on Reddit. But what I would say is that I have a ton of different videos depending on what area you're looking for with tactics. If you're looking for questioning and cross-examination, I have a video on that. If you have questions about research, I have a video on that. If you're looking for PO help, I have a video on that. So just kind of figure out what you want your tactics to be, and then you can definitely find it online. So this is a question about congressional prelim rounds, especially with the questioning system. So this question, I think, is a good time to explain that. So in congressional debate, there's two styles of questioning. There's direct and indirect. And the difference is in direct, you have a 30-second block to ask your question. So you can ask however many questions you want, and they can answer as many times they want within that 30 seconds, and then your time's off. And indirect, it's one question and you're done. So they're different styles, and I would recommend, there's obviously different approaches for both of them. I prefer direct a little bit better because you can really clash and you could kind of lead people down like a logic train, which is really interesting and I enjoy doing. But pretty much if you want advice on it, I would just recommend that you listen to the speech and then nitpick something that they said or that contradicts something you say. And especially if you want to give a later round speech in Congress, just take what they say and then listen to it and then ask a question that would contradict what you said and then bring that up later in your speech. This next question is asking for a kind of a crash course in speech and debate because they've never done it before and their team's pretty competitive. I think the brief rundown is there's two sides to speech and debate. One is the speech side, one is the debate side. If you're more interested in giving your own opinion without any clash or without going back and forth with someone, choose the speech side. If you want that back and forth, choose the debate side. Within that, there's a bunch of different events. That can be confusing. I have a video where I listed out all of the national champions at NSDA main events explaining their event. So check that out. It'll be up at the top of the banner right here. But honestly, get out there, go to a tournament, watch some events, because that's how I started off, just watching people compete, and that'll help you a ton. Okay, so this next question is advice for a PF or PF novice. So I would recommend just once again go to a tournament. Honestly, it's they're going to the first tournament next month. So just go compete. You'll learn so much about seeing from other people and also about yourself. I would recommend some things that maybe I didn't know going into my first time in PF, that you should have questions listed out. You don't have to use those, but I would just have them just in case you need them because you can get nervous in front of the judge and in front of your competitors. The next question is about working on your oratory. So it talks about how you're working on your oratory and you're scared about your topic. Honestly, I think that the best topics and the best speeches come from the heart, honestly. When it comes to oratory, give a speech that you're passionate about and something that you care about. And it won't you make sure it doesn't come off too preachy or whatever you're concerned about, but I think that if something you care about, it can be a really great speech. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you've not subscribed to this channel already, please do it. It helps me out a ton. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, which would be a huge, awesome goal to get to. Right now we're at 500. And once again, make sure to check out r/debatingyouth. I'll be posting some stuff on there, and have a great day. See ya.